Most people have no idea that the Federal Reserve is planning to crush the stock market. Now, the Federal Reserve refused to lower down interest rates even though that there was every single indication that the US economy is about to fall into a recession. What is the job of the Fed? Is to maintain the value of the dollar and ensure that there is maximum employment. But look at the US jobs market. This is the most important indicator about the health of the economy. And starting since 2022, you can see that the number of jobs the economy is adding is slowing down substantially. And over the last 12 months, we had multiple months when the United States is losing a lot of jobs every single month. So the moment this is going to continue, for example, for another 6 months, then you can know for a fact that unemployment could actually rise to as high as 5%. You should be lowering down interest rates before the wheel stops spinning. So the economy is like a wheel. Whenever it's going and spinning, you should actually maintain that. The moment it stops, then restarting the wheel is extremely difficult. So here's the main question. Why doesn't the Fed want to lower down interest rates if it knows for a fact that the US economy will fall into a financial crisis? The markets have already reacted that the Fed did not lower interest rates, and the S&P 500 is already down by 5%. But you know what? This is just the beginning, because what's about to happen to the stock market is something that most people have no idea. Now, if you look at the entire stock market, you will see that tech stocks completely dominate the entire market. Like the Magnificent Seven, which are Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, Google, and Amazon, they represent a third of the entire S&P 500. And frankly speaking, S&P 500 is literally the entire stock market. So all you have to ask yourself to understand what is going to happen to the stock market is what is going to happen to the tech sector? What is going to happen to the valuation of tech companies? If you can successfully answer that question, you are going to know what is going to happen to the stock market 6 months from now, a year from now. The valuation of tech companies heavily depends on how much money they are going to make. So when you have a tech company and you see that investors are paying 25 times, 30 times, 40 times the amount of money that the company is making. So you have a business that is making, let's say, $500 billion, and yet its valuation is $4 trillion. Why? Because the valuation of that tech company is based on the fact that the company is going to make far more than $4 trillion 10 years from now or 20 years from now, which is why investors don't mind overpaying for these tech companies, knowing for a fact that these companies are going to make a lot of money in the future. But here's the problem with these revenues is that the value of the dollar consistently changes and the value of future dollars changes as well. The dollar is a commodity that is artificially created by the Federal Reserve, and its value changes every single day, or I would say every single year. So for example, $1,000 5 years from now will worth a lot less than $1,000 today. Now, how do I know that? Did I go to the future and expected that? Well, of course not. If you look at your life, 5 years ago, $1,000 could get you a lot more. Why? Because the dollar is an artificial commodity. So for us to predict the valuation of these businesses, we have to try to understand what is going to be the value of the dollar 5 years from now or 10 years from now compared to the value of the dollar today. And here's the problem that the tech companies are facing right now. They are having a lot of capex or capital expenditure. Because there is an AI boom, these companies have to spend hundreds of billions of dollars, potentially trillions of dollars to build the AI industry. So AI is huge and you have multiple layers for that industry. Of course, at the bottom of the industry is the energy cost, because as it seems like AI requires a lot of energy. And then you need those huge data centers that are going to supply the AI. And then you need those computer chips at mass scale. And you can't simply just use old version of computer chips, but rather you want the best and the most advanced computer chips that apparently only Nvidia can manufacture right now. And these investments are going to cost these companies trillions of dollars. Where do you think they will take the money from? Of course, a lot of that money is going to be borrowed from banks. So the next question you should be asking yourself is that what is going to be the cost of the money that we are going to borrow? Because we are borrowing money on one side and we are going to make future profits in the future because of these investments. So in order to find out the valuations, all you have to do is to ask yourself the value of the current dollars or the cost of the current dollars and the value of the future profits. And the AI capex is just one part of the story. Because there is a global disruptions of global supply chains, these companies have to rebuild their supply chains. And that means that, take an example of Amazon. Amazon is doing business globally, so they're shipping places from one country into another. There is an entire war that is taking place in Middle East, and that is disrupting the global supply chains, the global shipping, the global airlines, which means that now the company will have to borrow billions of dollars, potentially dozens of billions of dollars, to rebuild their entire business if that war is going to continue. And that's not just about Amazon. It is about Apple that manufactures its products outside the United States and pretty much most other companies as well. So we are looking in a situation where these tech companies that represent the S&P 500 have to make a lot of spendings. Here's what happens. When there is high inflation in the economy, it is going to increase the cost of borrowing because now investors are expecting a higher return. So imagine you are the investor and you're sitting on $100 million. And here's Amazon that wants to borrow your money to build a manufacturing plant, or they need to buy more planes to improve their logistics. And you're looking at inflation, and inflation is like 5%. Let me ask you a question. When you are going to loan your money to Amazon to buy a new plane, are you going to require any rate of return that is less than 5%? Well, of course not, because you are going to lose to inflation, especially that's debt. So you want a rate that is higher than inflation. Which is why every single time you see inflation is rising, the cost of borrowing is going to rise. And because there is so much capex spending by tech companies, that means that the cost of borrowing for them is going to skyrocket insanely. High inflation also means that future profits are going to be a lot less valuable. So for example, if we expect companies such as Apple to make a lot of money in the future because of the AI investments, or let me take another more appropriate example. Nvidia is going to make a lot of money in the future because there are going to be far more demand for computer chips. Now here's the question. What is the value of that future $5 trillion that Nvidia is going to make? Since there is high inflation, it means that the dollar is losing a lot more of its value, which means that those future profits are now going to worth a lot less, which is why on paper right now Nvidia is going to worth a lot less. And now take this logic and apply it across the entire stock market or the entire tech industry. And because tech industry represents most of the S&P 500, now you can understand why the markets are crushing. But here's the biggest problem is that the Federal Reserve has a lot of concerns, which is why they did not lower interest rates. If you look at the inflation in January, it was about 2.8%. And if you exclude food and energy, it was 3.1%, which means that inflation is not going down below 3%. And the job of the Federal Reserve to preserve of the value of the dollar in the first place and then ensure maximum employment. And what do you think is happening when there is a war in Iran? There is no clear deadline. When exactly the United States is going to finish this war with Iran? Are there going to be troops on the ground? Is the objective of the United States to replace the regime, which seems unreasonable and impossible to achieve? How long the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed down? What is going to be the reaction of Iran? Will the United States just abandon the Middle East and lose face by abandoning this war? Do you see how many questions are there? What we can know for a fact is that since the United States have launched this war, most likely it is not going to lead or leave unless there is going to be a clear victory for the United States. And why is that important? Because the United States has the global reserve currency. And part of the reason it has that is because the United States has the most powerful navy in the world that secures global shipping. So it is a test. The world is watching the United States. If you can actually secure the Strait of Hormuz and win this war, then we don't actually trust you as much as we did in the past. And if we don't trust you to protect the global shipping, why should we even use the dollar as the global reserve currency? You can't actually protect these streets. Do you see what kind of a problem that it creates for the US dollar? And the job of the Federal Reserve is to preserve the value of the dollar. So we can expect high energy prices. Oil prices have already doubled. So if this war continues, you can already expect that oil prices could go to $120, $150. And now ask yourself, how is that going to impact prices across the country? Of course, prices are going to rise. Of course, inflation is going to be far more than 3%. And now the Fed is in a situation. We can't simply just keep the rate the way they are. Maybe we have to increase interest rates. And when we increase interest rates, here is the next question. What do you think is going to happen to the cost of the current dollars and the value of the future profits? Now you can do the math and realize what is going to happen to the valuation of tech stocks. It is also disrupting the global supply chains. Part of the reason we have such good prices, or we had in the past, is because there has been effective supply chains. Now, there is a huge hole in the middle of the world where ships cannot possibly pass, which means that ships will have to take a much longer route. Not only that, they have to pay higher oil prices, higher energy prices. Now they have to spend even more on fuel because they have to take longer routes. What does that do to prices? Again, you can do the math on your own and realize what could potentially be the next decision of the Federal Reserve. And finally, there could be a ground invasion. Now, if somebody is telling you that the United States can finish this war and secure the Strait of Hormuz and declare real victory without ground troops, that is almost impossible. Because Iran doesn't have to do much to close down the Strait of Hormuz, but it will take the United States a few 100,000 troops, which means that it is going to cost the US government a lot of money. The US government would have run a deficit of $2 trillion anyways this year. That is without including the fact that there is going to be a war with Iran. And since there is going to be a war, it means that that deficit is going to grow to $2.5 trillion. And this is just the beginning, because this war is not going to stop just in 2026. When you put grounds on the troops in Iran, they might need to secure this trade for a couple of years. Look at the example of Iraq. The United States kept the troops in Iraq for over 10 years, and Iraq is very easy to invade. It is a flat land, and it's not a mountainous country such as Iran. And Iran has like 4 times the population of Iraq, which means that we can actually expect a lot of deficits. Now, here's the problem with the government's deficit. This war is entirely financed by debt. So, usually in the past, here's what the government would do. The government would literally take your taxes or take the money directly from you to finance a war. So, the amount of money in the economy is still the same, even though that spending is going to create inflation, but the supply of money is still the same. Now, this war is entirely funded by debt. So there is no way that we can actually just get the money from taxes. What does that mean? That means that they will increase the supply of money directly to fund this war. So the actual money in the economy is going to grow, the faster the deficit is going to grow, which means that creates more inflation than anything else. So we can confidently expect inflation to rise. And that's what actually the chairman of the Fed said, that we don't know the final consequences of this war because this war could potentially create a far bigger inflation than we can expect. And if there is inflation, what do? You might need to hike interest rates, even if that is going to create a recession. And when you raise interest rates, that instantly increases the cost of capital and devalues future profits. And now you know what that is going to do to the stock market. The United States has already faced something like that in the past. So if you go to 1970s, the United States was in a very similar crisis than it's right now. The only difference is that the US did not have as much debt back then as it has right now. So there was an oil shock. Oil countries have actually embargoed the United States, which rose dramatically the price of oil, and the United States just abandoned the gold standard. So inflation shot to the roof. It shot to as much as 13.5%. Now here's the question: what exactly the Federal Reserve did in this situation? Well, scroll down and look at that. The Federal Reserve has hiked interest rates to as much as 19% by 1980s to fight this inflation and bring it down. Now, currently, interest rates are about 3.5%, and we have such a huge crush in the market already by 5%. Now, ask yourself, what is going to happen if the Federal Reserve will actually double the interest rates just like it did back in 2022, where interest rates were about 5.5%. You can see what that is going to do to the valuations of tech stocks. What if inflation rises to 6 or 7% because this war is going to drag the US deficit to unsustainable levels? Then you're looking into interest rates of 7 to 8%. Do you see how that can easily crush the entire stock market? So the Federal Reserve is basically preparing for that. It doesn't mean that that is going to happen for a fact, but the probability of that is insanely high the moment you hear the news that the United States is about to deploy troops on the ground to invade Iran. But on the other side, the good news is that is only going to crush the valuations on paper, which means that sooner or later, when inflation is going to go down and interest rates are going to come down, valuations on paper are going to rise, which means that the stock market will entirely recover. So this is pretty much like a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity where you have to buy the right stocks because you want to use that as an opportunity to become a multi-millionaire. So if you want to know what are the stocks you should be buying when the market crushes and crushes much farther, then check out the Investing Academy. The link is going to be in the description of this video.